Hey guys, welcome back to another little compilation of Reddit stories. So this is my new favorite thing to do. I'm going to try my best not to bombard you guys with these videos, but I'm thinking I'll try to keep them to like once a week. But it's my new obsession, so I'm sorry. So if you guys also enjoy listening to them, please like and subscribe because I do want to continue making videos like this. And anyway, so the first story I found in the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? It was posted 27 days ago, and it is called, Am I the A-hole for asking my girlfriend if she can take a shower? My girlfriend really only showers once a week. Twice, if I'm lucky. Typically, we go to the gym together, and I've often asked her why she doesn't shower. And she always comes back with things like, oh, women don't really sweat much, and I sweat very little, even for a woman's standards. And I don't buy it because I can smell. I used to just suck it up because I knew she was extremely sensitive. Kind of not safe for work here, but this has even affected our sex life. I used to love going down on her, but after not showering and working out slash long work days, etc., I've lost interest. Fast forward a bit, she now starts using the sauna at the gym, maybe on average 2 times per week. She still refuses to shower. I've said, there's just no way you don't sweat in the sauna. Just me sitting 5 minutes in there gets me soaked. She says she doesn't sweat much there either. And she sits there for like 20 minutes. That's a long time to sit in a sauna. Things are now worse. I can smell her very badly, almost to the point where I try not to breathe in too close to her because it's not good. I've tried so long to give hints to her to get her to shower more, like saying, hey, do you want to take a shower together? But she can't take the hint. She says, why would we do that? There's only room in the shower for one. One evening, she just wanted to lay down on the floor and stare at a world map that she has. She invited me to lie down next to her and just talk about where we want to go, etc. I lasted for about 1 minute before I had to get up and make some dumb excuse as to why I had to get up. Then she got upset and said something along the lines of, why are you leaving? You never do stuff with me anymore. The truth is, I just can't be close to her for long. I'm not even sure if I started to resent her because it was the only one thing that was bugging me in this relationship. But maybe I did, and that's my fault for being bad at communicating with her. Anyway, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I tried one last time to ask if she wanted to take a shower with me to show I did want to do stuff with her, but she declined. Then I said, I know you say you don't sweat, but I can smell. I don't like the smell of sweat, etc. And it being a popular gym we go to, I would just appreciate it if you showered a bit more. She freaked out. World War III started. She accused me of things and asked if I found her disgusting. I almost felt like she wanted me to think she's disgusting for some messed up reason. Like this was an easy way to create distance between us, have less sex, all of that. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm overthinking it. It's just to me, it feels awfully obvious to shower, if not daily, at least every other day. She says she doesn't want to shower her hair often, but still, you can shower your body. Our relationship is borderline over because I hurt her. So, am I the a hole? What could I have done differently? So I do understand that there's a lot of girls who do they shower their hair once a week, and that's your own choice. If you have hair that is, I guess, really dry and you don't want to wash your hair more frequently, yes. However, you need to be showering your body at least every other day, if not every day. Your body, your skin naturally secretes oils. It doesn't matter if you're sweaty or not. You naturally are shedding skin cells all day long, every single day. And those build up in your armpits. It builds up behind your knee, on your elbow, like in your neck, behind your ears, in your butt crack. Like that is where these smells come from. It's from like dead skin cells, oils, bacteria, all these things. You don't have to be running a marathon and getting drenched in sweat in order to need a shower. Even if you're like a patient in a hospital and you're not moving, the nurses will come by and They'll wipe you down, they'll get you clean, they'll turn you over. And that's people who are not even moving, because that's what happens. You need to shower, you need to clean your body. Like, and the fact that she's going to the gym and the sauna and she's still not showering, that's gross. That's gross. My immediately thought is she depressed? Does she have some kind of does she have a sensory disorder maybe? Because that could make sense. I've heard that people who maybe are have like sensory issues, the process of getting into the shower and then especially like getting out of the shower because you're cold and you're wet and then the towel in your body, like it's just not a good experience. So they tend to put off showering longer than most would. So maybe she's having an issue with that. Regardless, I would definitely bring it up to her, but you have to be more specific, I think, because you just asking, "Do you want to shower with me?" Maybe she thinks you're trying to have sex and she doesn't feel like having sex right now. Like, you need to be more specific and say like, "You need to shower because I can smell you." Maybe she's just not understanding that. You did say, "It's my fault for being bad at communicating with her." So, yes, you do need to communicate more directly with her because maybe she's just not understanding it. Maybe she doesn't realize that she smells bad and then see what happens. I don't know, but she should be showering. If she's going to the gym, she should be showering that day. If she's going to the sauna, she needs to shower that day. You don't have to wash your hair every day, but you do need to be showering after the gym and after the sauna. Let's read some top comments here. Oh, there's an update. Okay, no, we're gonna read the update. The update was posted on February 28th. The update says, "We broke up. She refused to accept that she was disgusting by not showering and didn't see anything wrong. Impossible for me to change her mind when she is dead set on no wrongdoing. No point to me to argue with someone like that. It seems there was a lot of unresolved trauma in her past. I was aware of it, but not the severity of it and how it still affected her. One of the first sentences to come out of her mouth when I confronted her again was, 'Break up with me then.' It was like she was challenging me or something, and it made me feel really weird. Instead of us coming to an agreement together, she got very defensive and just attacked me. She struggled with having girlfriends as she was scared of them stealing her current boyfriend or something, so she always went to hang out with guys. She loved getting validation from guys as well, so she ended up having a lot of friends and benefits over the years. There's a lot of stuff I did not know, but that's just not my thing. For some reason, I feel used in a way because I feel like to her I was just another friend with benefits, but she was someone I actually saw a future with. Ultimately, what made us break up, though, was the fact that she sees herself, quote, over men, or me in this case. She believes women are holy. Her words, not mine. She was the taker in the relationship and I was the giver. It worked for some time, but I started resenting her and did not want to be a giver for her anymore. I started to notice she did not appreciate my efforts and did not reciprocate much at all. Hopefully she will find a guy who will put her in the highest pedestal out there, but that guy is not me. All power to her." That to me is like a weird update because we were talking about her hygiene habits, and then all of a sudden he starts talking about how she had a lot of friends with benefits and hangs out with a lot of guys. That seems a little bit off topic. So it sounds to me like in the relationship they had a lot of issues, if these are things that were bothering him. So he said that she was the taker in the relationship and I was the giver, but I started resenting her. So from what I'm gathering, because this is just his side, right? And there's two. I always wish that I could have both sides to these stories to really get like a good picture, but we only get the one side and we only get like some of the information. So just based off of what he's saying. So it sounds like to me he was putting in more effort into the relationship than she was. And so he started putting less effort in, and to retaliate, she just stopped showering, which to me is just a little bit kooky. And I can't imagine, like, she's working and going to the gym and she's just running around all stinky. Like, not Like, how many days? So she's showering once per week, maybe twice per week, going to the gym and going to the sauna in between. Yeah, that's not it. Unless the twice per week, she goes to the gym 2 days per week. So if she's going to the gym and the sauna and then coming home and that's her day that she's showering, maybe that would be okay. But that doesn't sound like that's what's happening. It sounds like she is just stinky all the time. And that is crazy. But again, maybe she doesn't realize it. But from what he's saying after the update, it sounds like that's kind of like a little retaliation thing. And she says she believes women are holy. So, in her mind, she should be able to just stop showering and just stop taking care of herself. And he can't do anything about it because women are holy. I'm a little bit confused by that, but that also sounds a little kooky. So, um, yeah, it's probably for the best that you guys broke up. I mean, let me see if I can find some comments here. Top comment says, "It's not just about sweat. Discharge, urine, feces all add to the smell. No wonder you don't want to be near her. I shower every other day and I feel dirty if I don't. I have dry skin. Otherwise, I'd shower daily, but my skin hurts if it gets too dry. She should be showering at least that often and absolutely after each visit to the gym and sauna. Gross." Yeah, I completely agree. And that's a good point about the skin thing. Even if your skin is dry, there are moisturizers you can get. You shower, you moisturize. If you don't want to wash your hair, put your hair up in a little hair turban or a shower cap or whatever. But shower your body. Shower your body, dude. Oh my God. Another person says, "Not the a-hole. I wouldn't be surprised if she has some kind of phobia or OCD about the shower. If she is showering so infrequently, ignoring hints and flipping out over requests. But all sincerity, is it possible that she has some kind of Asperger's or autism?" You know what? That's what I thought too, because I was like, it must be like a sensory thing. But then after OP's update about her saying that women are holy, I'm kind of thinking this girl is just like weird. She's just a little bit kooky. I think that she's just doing it on purpose because she's like, oh, I can do whatever I want, like, because I'm a woman. You should just be, you know, you should just be happy that I'm here in her stinky little self. Ugh, God, so strange. Please shower. Please shower. Shower every day if you're an adult, at least every second day. If you go to the gym, shower when you get home. That's gross. That's nasty. Moving along. So the next story was posted to Am I the A-hole? And it is called, "Am I the a-hole for not telling my husband he could get a form notarized instead of going with me in person to get our baby's passport?" And it starts, "My husband thinks I should have told him that there was an option to get a notarized consent form instead of asking him to come with me to the post office to apply for our baby's passport in person. He said that I hid the fact from him and disrespected and wasted his time, and that I should have at least given him the option to do the consent form. He found out that it was an option after 20 minutes of both of us waiting in line for our noon application appointment. There were still 3 applicants ahead of us, meaning 30 to 40 minutes wait time, since the appointments were backed up. He found out because the lady behind us asked if both parents needed to be present, and I said yes, or you could get a notarized form from the dad instead. After my husband heard that, he instantly got really angry that I knew this information and that I didn't tell him. I explained that it didn't even cross my mind since we're together anyway, we're both local, and I didn't know the wait would be that long for the appointment. For context, this was the second time that we've gone to the post office because the first time we didn't have an appointment, and the wait time was so long that we left and made an appointment to come back. It's my first time applying in person, so I didn't know there would be that many people applying for a passport at one time. The husband thinks that I should apologize for not telling him about the notary option. Looking back, that probably would have been the way to go, given it's been so difficult coordinating times with him to go. He's been dragging his feet on this because he doesn't really care about going on any international trips anytime soon as I do, which is a whole other issue. He's very protective about his time, especially on weekdays and midday events, as it interrupts his flow. Meanwhile, I think it's crazy that he feels so entitled to me mentioning the notary option. I'm annoyed at him for being such a maniac about this. Had I known it was going to be like this, I would have just told him, but I didn't know. He called me negligent for not knowing these things take a long time. I told him the passport process is his responsibility too, but he thinks, since I'll be waiting in line anyway, I should have respected his time and made it as quick as possible by him giving the notary option so he doesn't have to go and interrupt his day to come in person. So now he said he'll do the notarized form on his timing. Quote, I'll do it when I do it. Don't ask me about it. Then I'll have to go back a third time again on my own to apply for the passport. I think we should have just waited and finished the task. The argument, plus getting the notarized form, plus going back, is going to be way more time than if we had just waited. Am I the a-hole? I'm going to start off by playing devil's advocate. So, you did know, I'm talking to OP, you did know that you could get a notarized form because you informed the person behind you that they could do it. So for you to say that you didn't know that is just not true. I'm wondering, when did you find that out? I'm just picking at little details here, okay? I'm not saying like she's the a-hole. I'm just picking at little details because that seems like an inconsistency in the story. That was the only question that I had for OP. Okay, so first of all, your husband needs to get his head out of his ass because he's a parent too. These are things, getting your child a passport, getting your baby a passport, especially sounds like it's their first passport because you're going to apply for your baby's passport. You only need to get a passport once every few years, even as a baby. I think it's like every 5 years you need to get a new one. So this is a big step in your life as parents. That's at least my thought, is this is like a kind of like a milestone. You're getting your baby's first passport. These are things that you should do together. Right? Like this is my thought. The time and effort that it takes to get a form notarized is going to take longer than it is just to go. If he would have just stayed in line instead of walking his immature little butt out and making a big deal out of all of this, if he would have just waited in line for another 30 to 40 minutes, like you said, it would have been finished. Now he's going to have to go and get a notarized form. In order to get a notarized form, you need to make an appointment with a notary. You need to go to the notary, or sometimes you can have a Zoom call. I know things are different right now. Regardless, it's going to take more time and more effort. You have to find one. You have to book an appointment. You have to get your ID ready. You have to read the entire form with the what are the people called that notarize things? Why am I blanking on this? The notary? Are they just called a notary? Anyway, I'm sorry. I should know that. But it's going to take probably more time and effort to do that than it is just to have stayed in line and got this done. And I'm not going to be surprised if OP's husband is going to be like, you make the appointment for me, you do this, you do that, because he sounds like a child and doesn't even want to like wipe his own butt. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom. I don't care if you work on weekends. I don't care if you work a full-time job. Your time is not less important than your husband's. So for him to get upset at you for something that he very easily could have found out if he had taken the time, if he had gone to make the appointment himself, which clearly he didn't, you had to make the appointment to get your baby's passport. He could have very easily found out that he could have gotten a form notarized and, didn't have to go. It is not your job to know everything. So him getting upset because you didn't know something and you didn't tell him about something, that doesn't make sense. Second of all, the notarized forms, I believe, are for parents who are not like physically not able to be there. So this doesn't include people who just happen to be, they like it sounds like he works from home. If it's interrupting his day flow, it doesn't sound like he's working, he's not like the CEO of some big corporation and can't leave the office and whatever. He's like able to come with you to this appointment in the middle of the day, and therefore the notarized form is not really for him. The notarized form are for people who are not local, who are physically not able to come to the post office, not just for people who don't feel like doing it that day, right? Like, just because I don't feel like going, I just want to make my wife go and wait herself, by herself, probably with the baby in this post office forever, which I've done, and that is hard. Like, standing in line with a baby. No, you guys go together. You guys go together. You know what? No, one step further. Have your husband go by himself. Or your husband can go with your baby and go wait for an hour at the post office. You get that form notarized for yourself because his time is not more important than yours. I'm getting upset. I'm getting upset again. No, that's not fair. Anyway, you're not the a-hole. I am a little bit confused about how you came to know the information. Like, that's just me being a stickler because you said you didn't know the information, but yet you did know it because you told the lady behind you. So, I understand you didn't feel it was relevant, but like, whatever. That's just me being a stickler. But he needs to take some responsibility as a parent and as a husband, and he needs to be able to be there to support you. And not everything is your responsibility. Not everything is your fault. If you guys can't talk through this, I hope you guys get into couples counseling. I know this is not like a huge deal, but that kind of behavior and emotional disconnect from your partner where you're thinking like, it's just not my problem. Like, baby stuff, not my problem. I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to bother. Like, this is your fault. Like, you should have told me, you, me. Like, it's just so immature, and it's just not it. Anyway, the whole thing is just ridiculous. I am so sorry, OP, that you have to deal with this man-child. Again, I'm trying not to get too upset about this, but it ticks me off when people in relationships just take their partner's time and energy for granted, and that is what's happening here. And they have this kind of entitlement entitlement over their partner's time and energy. I don't like it. Just, it's not a good situation. I'm sorry. I hope that this was just a one-off situation and it's not a pattern. If it is a pattern, definitely consider couples therapy, marriage counseling. And the people have voted not the a-hole, which I completely agree. Let me see if I can read some of these top comments here. Top comment says, not the a-hole. He's an adult. Why didn't he do his own research? Furthermore, I despise people who use the term disrespectful for every damn thing. Sir, you were inconvenienced, not disrespected. Now he's punishing you by deliberately not filling out the form and insisting that you go back again. I don't know why you need the passport, but I hope that you can get away from this controlling, narcissistic moron. Yeah. Pretty much. Another person says, not the a-hole. It seems like your husband thinks his more time is more valuable than yours. Oops. It seems like your husband thinks his time is more valuable than yours, and the fact that he has seemingly left the post office when he was already there and had an appointment rather than just wait a bit longer and get it over with, and now is holding this form over you about his schedule, and you having to go back yourself a third time. His behavior is pretty lacking. Yep, lacking. That is a good word for it. A lot of people are talking about the word disrespect and how it was just like, that's not it. Yeah, that wasn't disrespectful. I don't know why. He's just throwing that word out there because he's a baby. Someone says, not the a-hole. Tell him next time you'll send him with a notarized form from you. Nice. That's what I'm saying too. Like, he should go and do it. Like, you've been twice now. It's his turn next time. If he wanted to walk out, it's now his turn to go. Moving along, this story I found in the best of Redditor updates. It was posted 20 days ago. The original post was posted to Am I the A-hole? Posted on February 15th. Am I the a-hole for not going on vacation with my friend and her kids? My 30 female friend Sarah, also 30 female, is a single mom with 2 kids. She's been going through a rough time after separating from her husband last year, and I've done my best to be there for her. My other close friend, Lena, and I have always accommodated Sarah's situation, visiting her at her house so she wouldn't have to go out, planning outings around her kids' needs, and being as flexible as possible. Recently, Lena and I decided to go on vacation together, just the 2 of us. When Sarah found out, she got very upset and told us that she had expected us to include her and her kids, since she was her closest friends and she doesn't have many people to travel with. She also said that because she's in a difficult situation, she thought that this was something that we could do for her as her friends. Lena and I explained while we love her and her kids, a vacation with them would be completely different from what we had in mind. We also offered to take a shorter trip with her and the kids, like a long weekend, but she dismissed it because she wanted a full week at the beach. Then she said that she would let me join if the roles were reversed, but to me, that's not a fair comparison. If I were taking along on vacation with her family, I'd be adapting to their plans, whereas if she came with us, we would have to plan the whole trip around her kids. Sarah has now said that she doesn't know if our friendship will survive this, which I think is an extreme reaction. I understand that she's disappointed, but I don't think it's fair to guilt trip us into changing our plans. She also is acting like we're abandoning her, when in reality, we've just been incredibly accommodating for years. I feel bad that she's struggling, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's my responsibility to ensure that she has someone to travel with. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting to go on vacation with her and her kids? Does it say how old her kids are? I don't think so. It doesn't matter. If you're 2 single girls, 2 single girlfriends, I'm assuming they're single. Doesn't matter if they're single or not. If your 2 girlfriends want to go on a vacation and they don't have kids, then it's not a kid-friendly vacation. It doesn't matter. Like, that's just... I understand where Sarah, her name's Sarah, right? The single mom with 2 kids. I understand where Sarah is coming from. She obviously doesn't want to be left out on her friend's vacation. But can Sarah find a babysitter for her kids? Can the kids go stay with mom? Or with grandma, I guess it would be, or grandpa or something, for the week so she can still go on the trip with her friends. Like, why is Sarah feeling so entitled that her children get an invite as well to a girls' trip? I totally understand. I totally understand what OP is saying. And because kids do change everything. When she says that they have spent years planning accommodating outings around her kids' needs, that makes me feel like these kids are not they're not older kids. It sounds like they're younger kids, because when they're a little bit older, like 12, 13, 14, 15, I think they would be kind of like okay running around as long as they stick together. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thought. But if they're little that you kind of have to be accommodating to their needs, that sounds to me like they're like maybe under 6 years old, under 7 years old. Like maybe they're 3 and 4 and they're still taking naps. Like maybe they need to have their snacks. They need to be watched. They need to be making sure that they're not going to like drown in the pool and stuff like that. That's what it sounds like to me when they're like saying they're planning around their kids' needs. It sounds like they're younger, but it doesn't say how old the kids are. Regardless, if it is a vacation and 2/3 of the people don't have kids and don't want kids to be there, that's their choice. It's their vacation. You are not entitled to go on vacation with your friends just because they are. It would be nice if she was invited and they would have said, we would love for you to come, but you can't bring your kids. Like, it's going to be or not you can't bring your kids, but we would love for you to come, but only you. I don't know how you could word that, and it would be, I think that's okay. Like, just to say, listen, we really want to have just a girls' trip, kid-free girls trip. Like, let's go, let's pack your bag, let's find you a babysitter, let's call up grandma, like, let's figure this out. Let's all go on vacation. Like, you need a break as a mom, like something like that. Because it sounds like the kids are the only reason why they don't want her to go on vacation. So I'm hoping that they can kind of figure that out. There are some top comments here. Let me see. Comment 1 says, I mean, the other option is to let her come, but you don't change your plans. This could call for some malicious compliance. For example, oh, the kids need to go to bed. Have fun. We'll be at the bar and the club or whatever. And OP said, we did consider the idea of letting her come along while sticking to our original plans, but realistically, I don't think that it would work. If we went out at night while she had to stay in with the kids, she'd likely feel excluded, even if she claims she wouldn't mind. And honestly, Lena and I both know we wouldn't be able to go through with it. We're softies, and if we saw her upset or struggling, we would just end up feeling guilty and changing our plans anyway. So in the end, it would either lead to her feeling left out or us compromising our own vacation. That's exactly why we felt it was better to just be upfront about our decision rather than setting ourselves up for a situation where no one is truly happy. I completely understand that. If I was on vacation with a friend, and it sounds like these friends are really empathetic towards Sarah's situation, which honestly is really nice. It's really nice that Sarah has some friends like that, even though she obviously can't see that in the moment. But if I were to have a friend come on vacation with me and they were I would be stressed about their kids as well. I wouldn't be able to focus on relaxing. It's hard to be a parent. You're never able to like fully relax when you are in charge of watching your kids. You always kind of have one eye on them, So even if they're all together and they're sitting by the beach and they're having some drinks and their kids are off playing, whatever, as a parent, you're kind of just like, you're really paying attention to your kids. You're not even really fully in the conversation, because if you were to go fully in the conversation, your kid will run off and jump into the water by themselves, or they'll eat a seashell, or they'll, hit their sibling or something. Like, you need to pay attention to your kids. And, if you're able to completely and fully relax while you are in charge of watching your kids, you are a better person than me, because I absolutely cannot. My anxiety is heightened when I have my little one running around. So I completely understand if these friends, they know for a fact if Sarah does come along with her kids, they're going to be focusing more on making Sarah, make sure that she's not stressed and that she's like comfortable and that she's not feeling left out and blah blah blah, because I would be the same way. I would feel really empathetic and really bad towards my friend if she, anything were to happen, if like she couldn't come with us for something. I'd be like, wow, like this sucks. So I completely understand they just want to avoid that situation altogether, but I still think that they should try to get a babysitter. Like, I don't know why it doesn't even say like why they don't. I'm hoping the OP maybe says something. Why didn't they ask to get a babysitter? So this kind of answers my question. Somebody says, can Sarah find a family member or trusted friend to look after her kids so she can go on vacation with OP and Lena? What about the kids' father or her husband? OP did say that she was single in the beginning. So, but anyway, OP says, we did tell her that if she found someone to take care of the kids, that she could join us. She does not want to. A vacation without her kids is not an option for her. And then she also says for the husband, or for the kid's father, he's unreliable when it comes to taking the kids, but she is also very adamant about not going on vacation without them, because she says that they're still so young and they're a part of her. So I guess I'm curious how young they are. But yeah, it sounds like finding a babysitter is obviously not an option, which is fine. But then Sarah just needs to accept that she can't go on vacation. She just can't go on vacation with these girls this time. They even offered her an option of going on vacation a different time for a long weekend or something like that. So I don't like the entitlement of this Sarah woman. So there's an update, and the update was made 3 days later. And it says, update. She has just sent me a 12-minute voice note ending our 10-year friendship because she thinks we should have celebrated New Year's Eve at her home with her kids and that we should take this trip with her to cheer her up and that friendships aren't on equal terms. This is the message I'm thinking about sending. If it sounds a little weird because it's translated to English from my first language, forgive me. I'm sorry that you see it like that. I do understand that you're going through an incredibly tough time. It was absolutely never an intention to leave you behind, but to me, friendship doesn't mean everything always has to revolve around one person, even if they're going through a hard time. Of course, we tried to find compromises both on New Year's Eve and with the vacation, but it feels like it has to be exactly the way you imagine or not at all. And honestly, that doesn't feel like equal friendship to me either. Of course, I can understand that you feel excluded, but that was never my intention either. There are simply moments when someone without kids want to spend time with no children. You can always emphasize that your kids are a part of you, which is, of course, your decision, but it also means that sometimes you can't have both. If you never really ask yourself whether there are alternatives because you assume from the start you always have to have or want to have your kids with you, then that's your choice. But you can't expect others to always go along with that decision. I think it's really sad that you want to end our 10-year friendship over this because you mean a lot to me, but if this is what you've decided for yourself, then I have no choice but to respect that. I still hope that at some point we can find our way back to each other, and I wish you and your kids all the best. I like that letter. I think it points out everything that Sarah needs to hear because it's true. Friendships, you need to be flexible. They've been so accommodating this entire time to her and her kids, and she can't even give them one weekend. Either give them their weekend by themselves without kids, their little vacation without kids, or to even go on a separate vacation with them with her kids. She just wants it all. You can't have your cake and eat it too. The top comment says, not the a-hole. She won't read all that, and even if she does, she'll read them with the lens of proving her own point. Send a shorter message, one that she can't pick apart to prove her point. And then someone else asks, have you gotten a response to your message? And OP says, no responses. And to be honest, I'm not really expecting one. She's clearly stuck in the role of a victim since her divorce. I wonder if she can expect me to reply differently. Well, that really sucks because 10 years of friendship is a long time, but you don't want to be friends with somebody who doesn't, is always take and never gives. And hopefully Sarah will take this situation and really think about the type of friend that she is being and the way that she is acting for people who clearly care about her. If they're, if they didn't care about her, they wouldn't have offered to go on a completely separate vacation just so that they could include her and her kids. That was such a generous and such a sweet offer of them. I'm curious to see if Sarah is going to reply to the message. It was updated, like I said, when was it updated? This update happened on February 18th, so it's been over a month now. I don't know, we'll have to check back to see if we get an update. But it sounds like Lena is, well, it's sad because it's a 10-year friendship ending, but it sounds like it just wasn't working. They weren't on the same page, which is too bad. Hopefully Sarah will come around and apologize and realize that not everything revolves around her and her kids. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me in these stories. I'm really enjoying reading these Reddit stories to you guys. So if you are liking these stories too, if you're liking these type of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below which one was your favorite. Let me know what you think. Were my opinions okay? Were they totally off? Did you agree? Did you disagree? What do you think? And anyway, hopefully I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye.